today's video is going to be my highly requested video review comparison on the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette versus the heavyweight champion of the world, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. A little background on this guy: I have had her since she was released. I feel like it's been about a year, but I'm not entirely positive. It's been quite a while. I love it. I've been obsessed with this since it was released. It gets mixed reviews, but I'm a person who has been in love with this guy from the start. So let's go into the new one, shall we? So this is the newly released Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This is what the packaging looks like. It has sort of her text artwork situation on the front. It says Shade and Light. The cardboard packaging is actually very high quality. So this is the size. And on the inside it comes with a mirror, which is great for travel. I never really tend to use these, but I'm just going to hold it back for you. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Overall, the powders have more of a neutral to cool undertone, which is perfect for contouring, for like a strictly contouring palette. That's what I love about this one. And the way she organized these are from lightest skin tones to darkest. These two here, the coolest of the two, more pinky undertone powders, are going to be perfect for very light skin toned women or men. And the center is going to be perfect for light to medium skin tones, more medium. And the darker colors are going to be amazing for your medium deep to deeper skin tones, which I like. For me, I can use all three of these, and I'll kind of go into that when I do the demo. I don't have any contouring on my face right now, which is why it looks super weird. Well, that and the hot pink eyeshadow all over my eyes. So I like how this is organized. I think that's really awesome, especially for like a pro item to carry in your kit. You have a little bit for everybody. For an everyday user, you're not necessarily going to need all of the shades unless you kind of like to switch it up a little bit and go for like a really deep, dark, dramatic contour or something light and natural. I feel like the only kind of people that appeals to are Instagram selfie enthusiasts. So one thing I do think would be really awesome is if she just sold the combos individually. I think that would be really helpful and would probably save you a couple dollars. This whole palette altogether, as it is $46. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I don't need to hold it up. It does come with a brush, a dual-ended brush that you guys may have seen in other videos. I wasn't into it. I didn't need it. And it was $36. I'm not into it. I have other brushes that work just fine. So when you compare the two, you can see that the Anastasia kit is a little bit more saturated and more heavily yellow based, whereas this palette is more neutral and cool toned, as I said before. The thing I like about this is I have warmer colors for sort of bronzing my face, and then the cooler color fawn to chisel out the cheekbone if I need to, or to contour my nose, and then you have the highlight shades here. One thing I will say about the highlight shades is they are a little bit too saturated for my liking. The yellow's a little too yellow, the pink's a little too pink, and the highlight shade, although I've used it quite a bit, it's a little bit too powdery for my liking. If I'm going to do a shimmery highlight, I have other things I would much rather choose over this one. Another thing about the Anastasia contour kit is that the pans, individual pans, are refillable. You can order them on her website, and she also has a sort of map of guidelines to help you choose the colors that work best for you. One thing I will say is that this color, fawn, is the coolest tone that she has. I would say it's probably the best actual contouring powder for medium to fair skin tone girls, and it's pretty yellow. It works, it really does. I've used it in clients, I've used it on myself, as I've said before, but now that I have cooler, more neutral shades in the Kat Von D kit, I don't know why I can't speak right now. I'm like stuttering over my words. Now that I have those, I'm just not reaching for this as much. So say with this palette, if you're only using 2 of them, say you favor these 2 right here, they're your ride or dies, you run out of them, you have to repurchase the whole palette, you can't just get the refills, and then you're out $46 again when you don't even use the other shades. So that's one of the downfalls of this one. The actual formulas of the powders are quite different as well. The Anastasia ones are more firm powders. When you touch your brush to them, you don't get a lot of pickup. There isn't really any fallout. You don't get a ton on your brush. You kind of have to work to get powder on your brush, which is fine, but that's just how the formula is on these. With this one, they are more creamy, they're buttery, they're soft. That being said, when you touch your brush to them, you do get some sort of pan fallout. Kind of similar to, say, the Lorac Pro palettes. A lot of people use those for reference for fallout in the pan. They blend smoothly, so well, so creamy and pigmented, but you do get that pan fallout, which is going to mean that you're going to work through these powders a lot quicker. Another thing I will say about the formula of these versus the Anastasia kit, these are a bit more full coverage and pigmented. For me, for setting an under eye concealer, which is what I would probably use the highlight shades for, not necessarily this one, but the more neutral one and the more yellow one, I would. They almost give you a more full coverage effect, which I prefer, but I know a lot of you will not. So if you don't prefer a full coverage powder under your eyes for setting, then you might not get any use out of these. I'm going to zoom you guys in and do a couple swatches really quickly, and then we will go into the demo. So up top I have swatches of the contour shades from the Kat Von D palettes, and on the bottom here I have swatches of the contour powders from the Anastasia kit. On this very far side, I have the coolest shades from both palettes. Up here, this is Subconscious, and this one is Fawn from the Anastasia kit. This is the one I've been using for a long time, but as you can see, especially in this swatch, it's very yellow-based, whereas this one is quite neutral and almost like a gray taupe color, which is amazing for contouring very, very light to light medium skin. This one here is Java from the Anastasia Contour Kit. It's the one that looks like a cool reddish sort of contour color, and this one up here is Shadow Play. This is the middle color in the Kat Von D kit. So as you can see, they're pretty similar in tone. The Anastasia one is just a bit more saturated in color and a bit more red. This one is a teeny bit cooler, but still quite warm. This one here is Sombra or Sombre, however you want to pronounce it. I probably did it incorrectly both times, from the Kat Von D kit, and this one is Havana from the Anastasia kit. This is the warmest of the 3 in the Anastasia kit. I see a lot of people contour with this, and it does work, but you have to be very warm / yellow. So if you have a really good tan going on, you're already deeper in skin tone, this will work for you, but for a lot of people it just doesn't. This one is very, very dark. This will be an awesome contouring shade for people with very deep skin tones, which is amazing because you don't see a lot of products for that. So these are the comparisons for the contour shades. So these are the highlight shades from the Kat Von D kit and the Anastasia kit. You can see right away that the Kat Von D powders are a bit more full coverage, like I was talking about earlier, as compared to the Anastasia powders. So if that's something you don't prefer, you may not like these. You can obviously use a lighter hand, but it's just something to think about. The pinky shades are quite similar, but you can see that this one is a little bit more neutral. When comparing the yellow highlighting shades, you can see that the Anastasia's yellow is more heavily yellow based and more saturated, whereas the one from the Kat Von D kit is a little bit more white based. This one here is a more peachy color. This will be great for highlighting and color correcting deeper skin tones. And this one here, which might be kind of hard to show you, this is the shimmery highlight from the Anastasia kit. It's kind of like a natural shimmer, but the powder is a bit dry. So now I'm going to show you a little demo of the Kat Von D palette in action. For reference, for skin tone, I am right now about an NC 25. I may look more pale because of this big bright light, but just for reference so you can see how it looks on me. Just gonna pin this back. Pretty. So I'm going to start by using Shadow Play, and I'm going to use a Sigma angled contour brush for this, and I'm going to apply this to my cheekbone, going into the hollow but still a little bit above, just to start. And I like to kind of stamp my powders and then sweep them back. And I used very, very little product on my brush because they are so pigmented. And I don't really want a super heavy contour today because I have so much going on my eyes. I'm going to also take this to the sides of my forehead and the temples, and on my jawline to get rid of my lovely jowls. Thank you, Mother. Now for a little just added definition near the hairline, I am going to use Subconscious. This is the most greigey color. I'm just going to use that on my NARS Ita brush. And I just like to sort of stamp right near the hairline. This is just going to make it look like I have a true shadow right here. I don't want to bring it too far, so that's when it starts looking really obvious. You want it to look as natural as possible, kind of. So that's sort of the finished result for my contour. I'm also going to show you guys really quick how I would contour my nose. I don't always do this, but for the purpose of this video, I will show you. So for my nose in particular, I like to generally focus my contouring on the very end. I have quite a long nose, it goes down pretty far, so I like to shorten it by shading it underneath. And P.S. I'm just using a MAC 217. And then I like to draw straight up the side of my nose, not going down too far and not going up onto the bridge, just creating a very light shadow there. Not too much product because an obvious nose contour is just the least flattering thing you could possibly do besides sperm eyebrows. You know what I'm saying. So as you can see, that contoured and straightened my nose and lifted it just slightly, yet when I turn to the side you don't see an obvious brown stripe. Yuck. If you want to add a little blush or bronzer, you can do so now. I'm not really going to do any blush because I have so much color in my eyes, but I am going to use this bronzer by Kat Von D in Shady Business 1. It's just a nice light bronzer with some shimmer in it. It's really, really pretty. It adds a nice glow, which is perfect for the cheeks, and I use this on my cheeks to replace the blush when I'm not using blush, if that makes sense. Done. And just a couple final thoughts. If you are a makeup artist or pro and your clients tend to generally be medium to medium deep skin tones, you may want to stick with the Anastasia contour kit. You can customize your own based on your clientele, and it's a little bit more flexible. If you're like me and your clientele tends to be more fair to light to medium skin tones, the Kat Von D one may work best for you for strictly contouring because they have more of the gray-based powders. Overall, I like the formula of the powders better in the Kat Von D kit. They're a little bit more full coverage, which I prefer, and it's more of like a strictly contouring and highlighting palette. That being said, if Anastasia came out with a wider range of cool tone powders for light skin for their kits that you could use to create your own, I would probably go in this direction again just because of how easy it is to replace each individual pan. If we're talking about strictly contouring, I have to say the overall winner has to be the Kat Von D kit. The formula is amazing, the colors are amazing, and I'm just in love with it. But I definitely wanted to pick apart both of them so you guys can really make an educated decision for yourself and your needs. I hope this video helped you, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. What are your favorite palettes? What are some of the colors you use from the Anastasia line? Anything you need to tell me, leave it down below. I will list where you can get both palettes in the description bar. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. Hey guys, so today's tutorial is a bit different for me. I stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit. You still have that blown out smokiness I usually go for, but I wanted to try some crazy blue liner. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, please keep watching. So I'm starting out with a Makeup Geek eyeshadow. This one is Creme Brulee, and I'm just throwing this into the crease with a Sigma E40. It's either an E40 or E38.